Hey y'all. Once again, this is the weekly video about this week's reading in The Outsiders, so let's get started. Couple things. If you haven't handed an assignments in, just get started. It's a really good story and it's easy to do, but you do not have an indefinite amount of time. So please get these in. I also want, at the same time, I want to talk with the people that have read the book in previous years. Some of you guys are just taking the quizzes and not doing the questions. This is awesome if you've read the story. Why? Because it's a good story, but there's details that I'm going to require you to know that you might not remember. So pick it up, give it a quick read. Also, I will not give credit for quizzes if you haven't handed in the chapter questions. Where are the chapter questions? They are posted as with everything on the classroom homepage. In chapter 6, we start to see the appearances versus realities theme. Greasers are hoods, Johnny and Pony are labeled as murderers in appearance. But in reality, these characters do the right thing. Dally is a product of his own environment. He is hardened because of his upbringing and his parents. He cares about Johnny and knows that knows what he's going through regarding his abusive and absentee parents. Johnny, who appears to be a scared kid, gets a weight lifted off of him previously when he decides to turn himself in. This is before the fire. Also, he and Pony know it's the right thing to do to help the kids in the church, and this is why he's smiling. He doesn't have the guilt of killing Bob and dragging Pony in with it, and he feels good about doing what he's doing. Now, Dallas Winston saves both Pony Boy and Johnny in the fire. He gives Pony his jacket, which saves him saves his life. He also puts a fire out on his back when he comes out of the church. Then he saves Johnny. He was supposed to be the one with the reputation, didn't care about anything, but we know different. When the guys get to the hospital, Pony finally sees the reality that Derry does care about him. Derry is a tough character and didn't even cry at his parents' funeral. But when he sees Pony in the hospital, he breaks down. It is there that Pony knows that his brother really does love him. Now, at the hospital, Pony and Dally are relatively okay, but Johnny broke his back and has burns all over his body. Funny thing is, Pony is relieved that Johnny's face isn't burned. He has some sort of normalcy there. But he's worried about the quality of life that Johnny would have because Pony doesn't think he's going to die. He would be a prisoner in his abusive household, and he also is really sad that the kid's 16 years old and he won't be able to do the things that he is used to doing. He plays football, he runs around with a gang, he does all this. He won't be able to do this. That part of his life is ended. Oh, back. Okay. It is also interesting to note that Johnny talks about how sad his situation is and how he wishes he had more time. In contrast, previously, he had suicidal intentions. He was kind of sick of being scared of the greasers. He was sick of his abusive household. In the hospital, he talked about how he wasn't ready to end his life, how he wasn't ready to be done. Any 16-year-old would probably say the same thing. Now, Pony's talk with Randy is another important part of the chapter. We find out the tragic life of Bob. Yes, he did have money, but he craved boundaries from his parents who never got him. They never told him no. He also has a catch-22, which is an impossible decision. If he's a lot like Pony, he doesn't see everything as black and white, and he's tired of the whole Soch-Greaser rivalry. A big reason why is his best friend was killed. So his catch-22 is if he goes to the Rumble, he can't live with himself. If he doesn't go, he's going to chicken out. But in the end, he does decide not to go. Through this meeting with Pony and Bob, Pony sees that there's troubles on both sides of this fight. Pony kind of likes this. Why? Because from a greaser's perspective, he's used to getting the short end of things, and it relieves him to see that things are tough all over. kind of like the Cherry Balance conversation. Pony asked him, I really love this line, that's why I put it in there. Can you see sunsets real good from the west side? Cherry says real good. You can see it good from the east side too. What does this mean? You know, things are tough all over. Meanwhile, Pony knows that Johnny's not getting any better. The rest of the guys really don't see this. Why? Because when the doctor finally lets him in, he says it can't hurt him now. Pony gets this, the other ones don't. Okay, then we have all this stuff about Derry. Derry really isn't, is very different than the Greasers. And 2-Bit says if it weren't for Soda and Ponyboy, he'd be a Soch. Why? He physically doesn't look like a Greaser. He played football in high school, even fought one of his best buddies from the Rumble. Money and geography also determine the groups. So after the Rumble, okay, Dallas Winston breaks out of the hospital to back up the Greasers, and they win. Afterwards, Dallas and Ponyboy come to see Johnny at the hospital, and Johnny is taking his last breath. And the last thing that he says to Ponyboy, "Stay gold." This one, if you were to listen to anything in this video, I want you to remember this. What does this mean? Robert Frost's poem that Pony read stayed with him on, you know, when they read it on Jay Mountain. In the poem, the last line says, nothing gold can stay, meaning that you can watch for beautiful things in life. Why? Because they only last for a minute, then they're gone. By saying this phrase, "Stay gold, Ponyboy," Johnny is telling him to hold on to what makes him unique and what makes him original. Pony tries to look at both sides of life and doesn't look at things as black and white. He's saying, stay who you are and don't let life harden you. Dallas, though, takes this Johnny's passing not very well and leaves in a hurry. Okay, guys, please, this is it. Please get your chapter questions done before you take the quiz, and I promise I will post your quiz on Friday morning or afternoon. Take care, everyone, and stay gold.